Caveman, DJ Iron Monkey. We back again for another Saturday conversation. Uh,
Yeah, buddy.
first Saturday conversation of the new year. Happy New
Happy New
Year.
Year, B.
That's right. That's
Happy New
right.
Year indeed.
Shit, man. How was your New Year's, dude? What you do?
Oh man, I maxed and I relaxed as much as possible because if anything, oh no, I didn't even tell you this off mic. Unfortunately, my mother ended up catching COVID. So like she had to quarantine and everything. So while she was wrapped up for the new year, I had to take care of everything in the house. I had to clean up. I had to disinfect. I had to make sure that everybody was straight. Everybody had their meals and you know
Right.
take care of that. But since the new year, like my daughter was here for the Christmas break, the New Year break, and she went back on January 2nd. So last Saturday she went back, and I miss her
Right.
already. So, but other than that, like I just my new thing is just stretching out my back and just taking care of my physical because my spiritual has always been there, but taking care of my physical and more my mentals, rather than thinking about shit, just doing it.
Right.
So, it's kind of a quiet New Year's resolution and some other things that I don't want to tell people because one thing I realize is when you tell somebody that you're fitting to stop something, if they see you in the process of stopping, they say, "Oh, I thought you was gonna stop that. Oh, I thought this and oh, I thought that," and they don't want to hear how the sausage is made. They just want to,
Right. Right. Right.
have the sausage. So there's some things that I'm gonna keep to myself. But how about yourself, B? Like, how was your New Year's?
My New Year's was super quiet, man. In a way, it was like real smooth because like it was nice that I like be having to go anywhere or any of that shit. I worked and then I came home. We had a little spread, you know what I'm saying, and then we had the Monopoly. Uh, young
Oh yeah.
young Jalea been begging me to play Monopoly, and I'm like, listen, you don't really want to play Monopoly with me, but all right. So we set up the board, and you know me,
Mhm.
man, I like to build up the hood first. You know what I'm saying? The Baltic Avenue and the Oriental. I like them
Yeah.
properties on that first strip. When you come around, go. You just about to have to give me that 200 because I'm putting hotels all the way down.
Yeah, I like that light, that baby blue property and
Yeah,
around the corner. But I hate the utilities. Like I
no,
never
I
fuck with
got
the
listen.
utilities.
So I'm like, all right, this is my strategy. Buy up the hood, and then whoever
Mm,
got the piece I need to make the whole block,
mm,
then I'm gonna just try to game them out of it, right? So she ends up with the I got both utilities real fast, and I had like two railroads, right? So
mm,
I gave her the sweet deal. I'm like, yo, how about you give me that one? I think she had like Oriental, so I was like, why don't you just give up that
mm.
Oriental? And as a matter of fact, nah, it was Nadine. Nadine had it. So
Oriental's the light blue one, right?
yeah. So she had it. So I gave her
Oh, I love
I
them
gave her
shits.
I gave her the sweet deal so she would give me that shit. I threw some cash on the deal. It was like an MBA trade. I was like, yo, I'll give you these two properties
Uh,
plus like 500. And she was like,
mm,
word? I was like, yeah, and I'll give you this other shit. And she was like, all right. So
mm,
I gave her like four properties for that one property because I knew immediately I was about to put five hotels down that block, down that whole street.
mm.
And
Yep.
once I got the gauntlet, man, it was just a matter of time. Which then because I tried to offer Jalea so I could get another block, but she was like, no. She thought she was doing something slick by just buying everything up. And
Hmm.
after a while, I was like, you're gonna owe me so much money, you're just gonna have to give up them properties. And that's exactly what happened. She had to give me I let her give me properties to stay in the game. And then I put hotels on
See,
all that shit.
see the light blue, the baby blue ones and the orange ones. Those right before prison, and then maybe the red ones after that. But other than that, like all them other properties are dumb expensive,
Yo,
like to
I
build
fucks
on,
with
to buy.
I fucks with that whole
Like
first street, and then I like the green or the yellow properties coming around that other side.
yeah, Marvin Gardens and them.
Yo, I
Yeah.
got hit with the excise tax on my buildings though. I thought I was gonna get taken out the game.
Uh,
I had like I had like eight hotels, And then I had at least 2 houses on all my properties, yo. I almost got cashed out just on a chance card. But you know, it was
You,
cool, man. It's a good new year. I just still working, you know what I'm saying? Trying to I usually do my 53 days of sobriety, but um I just realized that
2020 was a bitch.
I just realized that I just broke this shit by drinking this Guinness. Um, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The reason I started it is not the reason why I continue to do it. So, uh,
Mhm.
but yo,
You're
the new year has started, man. We like 9 days in, 10 days in, the shit, and you know, your boy Trump trying to go out like a true G right now,
well.
calling on the
First of all,
people to fucking attack the Capitol and shit, and they really did that shit. It was crazy.
wait. First of all, never been my boy. Never, not on any level. Not on any level.
But
But you
yo,
know, number two, it's like it's been building up to this. Like
I'm not surprised, but I'm also like damn, like where was the response? You know what I'm saying? Like if I see you on the internet every day talking about yo, you about to fuck shit up. Yo, you about to fuck shit up. Hey, on this day, we about to fuck shit up. And I don't want you to fuck shit up. Then I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna have an intervention because I know that what's coming. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the FBI, none of this Capitol Police, they like, we could never see this coming. It's like, man, shut the fuck up, dog. Like
well,
the
well,
FBI knows what you
uh,
about
uh,
to
uh,
do next on your phone.
there's a couple of things with that. Is they were saying that they scaled back because of they felt like they had a heavy hand in the summertime when they had the peaceful protests during that time. So they scaled it back on that basis. There's some of the reasoning that they have been using.
Yo, it's
They
cool if
being
it's
the other
I'm
side.
okay with them scaling it back. What I'm not okay with is like, yo, all of a sudden, yo, as soon as motherfuckers started breaching the Capitol, then you supposed to ramp it up. You can't just stay scaled back. Like once motherfuckers
Well,
started getting
well,
violent on the scene,
well.
now you gotta return that.
There's something with that. There's two things with that because number one, um, those people were put in a position to do one of two things, right? They were either going to protect the people or stop the protesters, right? I wait, hold on. I shouldn't even call them protesters. Stop the rioters, right? So in that particular case, they chose to protect the people first. So in the midst of protecting people, like if I'm covering you and telling you to come with me, follow me, I'm gonna take you to a safe place. I can't stop the people chasing us at the same time.
Yeah, but here's the
Like I
thing.
can try
Here's
to
the
bust
thing that
shots or
people
throw
don't.
smoke
Here's the
grenades.
thing that you got to remember about DC and the Capitol. There's like 5 police forces that run in DC. You know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying? So it's like, all right,
and that and that's my second point.
if you don't want to show the presence in the beginning
Hmm.
for whatever reason, okay, cool. But once shit got out of hand, they should have at least had a more rapid response, man. This shit was going on for like two and a half
Well,
hours, two and a
and
half hours before they decided to bring in the National Guard
and that is
and
my second point.
the DC
My
sheriffs, the Capitol Police, everybody should have already been like in the vicinity, man. Like
see, and that's
that
my
is
second
whack
point
as
is that
fuck, son.
DC is not a state. DC is federal. So when it's federal, it has to come from the top down. The top down being the commander in chief. So that's why Virginia had to call in then the National Guard to come in because they was waiting for the commander in chief to,
Nah,
call the
nah.
shots.
The DC has a mayor, and the mayor is responsible for the police department, man. Like there's no
And they were saying
like
because it's the Capitol building, it's federal.
yo, but but still, I mean, you see, Secret Service was about the only ones in there really doing their job because as soon as old girl broke through the glass like that, they plugged her. That's what they trained to do. That's what they did, and that's still, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody else went into to that spot where those people were until it was empty because they knew better. You know what I'm saying? All I'm
Yeah,
saying is,
one shot, one kill.
once
One
the
shot, one kill.
if they would have
So
been more like Secret Service is responsible for the people inside the room, the DC Capitol Police are responsible for the building, and they did a terrible job at protecting the building.
oh yeah,
You know what I'm
oh
saying?
yeah,
It wasn't
oh
like
yeah.
Like nobody got
But
tased, nobody got hit with no bean bags. You know what I'm saying?
or the tear gas that's not really tear gas. It's just a chemical that
You
makes you
know,
tear up.
and while I'm listening to it, right, I'm like, okay, there's no violent response from the police department, but then I hear, okay, Secret Service snapped somebody off, and the crowd didn't get any worse. So now it's like, all right, maybe we need to like snap off a couple more people real quick that are being ultra violent, or you know what I mean, really just kind of have like a show of force. And then on top of that, I'm like, yo, why is this taking so long for the National Guard? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Ultimately, for me, it was a win for them, because for them, what it was for a fledgling and depleting race of people by numbers, because a lot of these people were not just white, a lot of these people were military people. So for them being white and in the military feeling like they're the last stand, because a lot of interracial relationships, a lot of integration from immigrations and integrations of races, they're losing. They're losing. So this is their, for them. A lot of these images are for them to say this was their last stand. Was basically their last stand, because they know that even though you could arrest those people, taxpayers are still going to have to pay for them to be housed, right? A lot of them, their ideology is not going to die off. Like even if they got shot, like
nah,
with homeboy, her,
you're probably right about that, but it would. What I'm saying is, if they would have used the same level of force that they are trained to use, or that they've used in other
oh yeah.
situations, then that shit doesn't even really get too out of hand. It becomes a story of protesters tried to storm the Capitol building and they got their ass whooped by the Capitol.
Some of them were even let in, and you see,
Yeah,
like
I saw that too.
Even with my man Rorschach behind me, that HBO special, not, I shouldn't say special, the limited series, Watchmen, right? A lot of them are on the inside.
Right, and this
They
video
let
of
them
them
in.
like opening the gates and shit like that. All of them cops need to be, all those cops need to be fired, and all those people that they need to all be arrested. But you already know that's not going to happen. But more importantly, what I'm waiting for is January 20th, which is the inauguration. But I'm not really waiting for the inauguration. I'm waiting for January 21st, because that's when a lot of the sanctions and legal situations that Trump has been able to avoid for the last 4 years, now he got to pay debt on those. I heard, while I do my research, I don't know, I didn't really like fact check it, but I heard that he had a trip out of the country to like Ireland, and Ireland canceled that shit on him. Like, nah, B, you ain't coming here. He probably can't go to Russia. So now it's like he got that lawsuit in
Oh,
New
he can't even go
Jersey.
online. Like all these
Yeah,
websites have banned him.
right. But he got a
Well,
lot
see,
of legal. He got a lot of legal trouble coming down the pipe. So I'm trying to. I like my anxiety. My anticipation is like waiting to see what happens with Trump. Are they going to just run up in the White House on the 20th and be like, slap the cuffs on you, and you got to go to jail, or is he going to escape, like on some Joe Malacone type
well,
shit, where he just
well,
disappear in the darkness?
he's trying to. He's been asking people if he could pardon himself, but it's like, look, guy, like, how you could pardon yourself if you're not charged for something right now? Like, so you're
Right,
basically saying you're guilty or not guilty of
right,
something
right,
that
right.
you know that people are gonna accuse you of in the future. Like,
Yeah, you can't pardon yourself for some shit you ain't got arrested for.
it it was like when he was taking hydroxychloroquine when when he said he didn't have coronavirus. It's like, wait, so wait, you took it to prevent yourself from getting it, but that's like me taking an asthma pump to
Right.
prevent myself from getting asthma when I don't have asthma. Like,
So, but yeah, so I mean, and you're right. Yeah, he's basically trying to like finagle immunity for
mm,
what? You ain't been charged with shit. So what you need immunity for, Playboy? Like, but I can't wait.
yeah,
I mean, I'm definitely excited about the presidential inauguration. I think it's gonna be it's huge and
oh yeah,
historical and all that. But my peak interest in the back of my brain is like, ooh, what they gonna do with this dude? How much time you gonna do? They gonna throw him under the jail? Is he gonna get away? Is he just gonna be like poof into the darkness and like you don't even hear about him ever again for like 10, 15 years, and
Uh,
they find him on some island?
n- nah, it's at the point where, and I forgot who said it, but they said sometimes it's better to be infamous than famous. And he's infamous. Like, yeah, people remember Willie Nelson. No, well, the Willie Nelson's still alive, but
I was like,
no,
damn,
people,
dude, you killing off Willie Nelson?
but people remember Bob Hope, right?
Right.
People remember Johnny Carson, but people love Billy the Kid. They love Al Capone.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah. I can't wait for
America,
the movie.
America loves the bad guy,
I'm waiting for the movie and
especially when the bad guy is white.
the
You
documentary.
know?
I'm waiting for the documentary on like History
Oh,
Channel or some shit.
oh yeah. And again,
Um,
America loves a bad guy, especially when he's white. That's one of those lines that Fargo season 4 had, and I was like, no, he said, especially when they're not your color. So, but
I still gotta, I
it's
gotta get
true.
back to it, man. I'm definitely interested in watching Fargo. Um,
Yeah, man.
so earlier we were having a conversation because we didn't talk enough about this dude. Uh,
Oh
about
yeah.
uh, like, well, go ahead and let's break it in. We talking about like the bigger trauma on your life as if you were to meet a lady and she had the same
Uh,
as either
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
daughter or
yeah,
your mom, and
yeah.
like which one would you be able to do that? I mean, obviously
Oh nah.
we don't have that problem. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, wait, wait,
But
wait,
yeah,
wait. You got the deck of cards all shuffled up.
I got them
Like you got
shuffled. I don't know, man. All right,
uh,
break it down for us. Break it down.
yeah, you got a 52 pickup going on right there. All right, so nah, cause like shout out to my boy Brian. My man, holding it down on the security side. I was gonna call him top flight security, but I'm not gonna disrespect him like that. But nah, shout out to Brian. Nah, cause he was like me and him had a little conversation, and it was something simple like um, hey, yo, let me ask you a simple question. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, yo, is it weird, if you kind of like if somebody's talking to somebody, and I don't know if he was asking for himself or for a friend. So let me say that too. But it was like, yo, is it kind of weird where you're talking to somebody that got the same name of your ex? I'm like, I never really ran across that. If anything, I try to avoid it, if any, as much as
Right.
possible.
I think it's,
But
I know a few dudes. They got a lot of exes with the same name, and I'm like, bro, maybe that's like bad luck or some shit. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
yeah, like especially if you get it tattooed on you. I forgot what movie was it. I don't know if it was Joe Dirt or something like that. And you cross off that name, and then you have Jolene underneath, and you cross that one off, and then you have something else.
Right. Well,
I don't know.
first rule is don't get somebody's name tattooed on you. Period.
Unless it's your children or your mother or your
I
grandmother,
mean,
or your auntie.
those would be acceptable exceptions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But like, I don't
but
know.
even with that, I was like, nah. You know what though? Thinking about it, like I avoid people that got like I don't. I got 3 kids. I got 2 daughters, but I avoid women that got the same name as my daughters, or my mother, or my grandmother, or my sister. Like I find that to be more weird than anything else, because it's
Yeah.
like, yo, how you could date somebody that got the same name as your mother, or your grandmother, or your auntie,
But
or your
I
daughter?
would never be able to do it, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I can't.
I can already think
Can't
of
do it.
like too many like drunk situations where you scrolling and you don't really be paying too close attention and you just look for the name. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
you
but
might accidentally like send your mom some nasty shit or like send your daughter some nasty shit or your sister, and then they're like hitting you
see,
back like, yo, what the fuck is happening here? Like,
see, you should have your mother listed in your phone as mom or Ma Dukes, uh, never her real name. Like who
also very
got their
true.
re- their,
Also
their
very
mother's
true.
real name in their phone? Like
Nah, I don't.
that's weird. But
I don't even have her in my phone as mom. I got her in there as Mother Goose. That way, I
see,
always know it's my mom's. You know what I'm saying? Like, very
yeah, see,
distinctive.
like between my mother and father, like I call them Modre and Podre. It goes back to when my sister first started learning Spanish, and she came home and she was all excited how she learned how to say mother and father in Spanish. I was like, nah. If anything, I'm gonna say Modre and Podre. Oh, I'll say Mo and I'll say Po. So, because if anything, it's me. If everybody's going dad or father or daddy, oh, Padre, Padre, you hear Po, it's me. So either way, nah, I got my mother as Mo in my phone.
Uh,
But like even with that, like I don't think I could
you can't mess
deal
with a
with a
chick
chick
named
named
Mo
Mo.
though, because then you mess around and you send an unsolicited, you know what I'm saying, anything that's just
Yeah,
nasty. You know what I'm saying? You're like,
yeah. She
I'm gonna come home and beat them cheeks when I get back from work. And then she's like, what the
see
fuck are you talking about, young
see
man?
how that would happen is she's like, all right, text me when you get home. Easy, right? Right? It's just you have her message there, and then your mother would be like, "All right, if you stop by the store, bring home some milk." So you got them two messages there, and you're like, "Ah, yeah, yeah, I'm home. Yeah, I'm just thinking about blah blah blah." Like, what the fuck that got to do with the
Yeah.
milk?
Right, right. You got your lady shit up, you know what I'm saying, and then your mom punch in, so you go back and you're like, all right, and then you do some other shit, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot to send this message, and you don't even look at the name, it's just up, and you just like do send, boom, then you get that like
Yeah,
dot or question mark.
yeah. What that got to do with the milk?
You might even get a phone call. Hey,
uh, yeah. Everything okay?
yeah, right. Hey, so
Like,
I'm just
what are you
gonna
talking about?
I don't think this was meant for me. That's when you know you done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah, nah.
uh
So nah, no. But even still, like I have a thing where it's a total turn off if like a girl starts playing with my neck. Like I don't do hickeys, I don't do no neck play. That's not my thing. I have a thing against vampires. All that aside, another thing I don't play with is don't call me daddy. Don't call me poppy. Like I got kids. Again, like so if this chick got the same name as my daughter and then she's calling me poppy, it's like, oh no, what this is I'm
I
getting
think
off this boat. Like, is
I
it
think
like
the moral to the
the
story is
fuck
that
I gotta hear?
you got a name check, man. You got to go down the list and make sure that it's not going like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a bad look. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I
yeah.
said, we don't have that
And
problem
then
because our ladies don't have the names of our moms or sisters or
oh
whatever the fuck. But
on top of it, it's worse if she says say my name.
ooh,
Like, no, no.
nah,
Daddy, say my name. No.
that's when you just leave. That's when you
Ah.
just use your safe word and leave the room.
Yeah, see, for me, it's a turn off. For other guys, I don't understand it, but hey, everybody comes a certain way to where they've gotten. So to each their own, I guess. It's just not for me at
Hey,
all.
well, let this be a lesson to the people, to the listeners and shit. Like, yo, make sure you name checking. And it's a bad
Mm.
look to date women who have the same name as your daughter or your mom or your sister or some shit.
Yeah,
Don't do
you know
that
what?
shit, guys.
Yeah, see, and again, with an ex, that's tough, but I don't think it's tougher than dating somebody that got your daughter's name.
Nah, hell no. I
She
mean,
saying,
nah.
"Daddy, say my name." Hit it from the
The,
back.
that's
No.
gross. Why? Damn, dude, we gotta climb out of this rabbit hole right now. I'm gonna help us get out of this rabbit hole because you get into it. I can see you go into an unhappy place right now. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so be this, yo. I'm always
Gone
on
out of
this.
space with it.
I'm always on this kick where like every year for the last couple of years, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna read at least 5 books this year. And last year I was like, I'm gonna read at least one book a month. And I managed to read uh 11 books last year. So
All right.
which is not a ton, but at least I got in like basically my one a month. Um
Yeah,
except one month I just kind of forgot and I was like, oh shit, I looked, I had like 3 book credits. So I was able to, but what I will say is that I caught up. Um, in December, I read Obama's book, his new book that's out, and
All right.
man, he
The
narrates
the
it.
John the John Bolton one didn't get to you?
What?
No, the John Bolton book, the guy that was working in the White House. Anyways, go ahead with the Obama one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. No,
Mm,
no. So I wanted to make sure I read it when I heard it came out, because I did read Michelle Obama's book too, which was very good. But I read that like over the summer, so I was like, all right, well, let me
mm-hmm.
see how this dude, you know, gives his. It's basically his first 4 years in office. So it goes from like him as when he was like in the
Community
beginning,
organizer.
he touches on when he was a community organizer, and then how he got into like politics and all that. And you know, halfway through his first term, they were like, "Yo, you should run for president." And he was like, "What? I don't know." And they were like, "Nah, do that shit, do that shit." So he talks some, like, I don't want to like give the book away, but he basically talks about his process for becoming president is like basically the
Mm,
first half of the book, and then the second half of the book is the first 4 years of his presidency, and it's very candid. He does the narration, so it's like basically listening to like, you know,
mm.
a great orator, because I mean his voice is cool, you know what I'm saying, and he uses a lot of uses a lot of candid language. You know what I'm saying? So he's not like over speaking the audience in a way like they were just like, yo, I don't really know what this dude is talking about. He uses a like
Oh, okay.
it's like basically like sitting at the bar with Obama and he's telling you about
Mm,
his 4 years in presidency. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of behind the
okay.
scenes shit. Um, I give it a 5 star, 10 star rating. You know, I would read it again. Uh, you know, and if you're looking for something that's like well written, um, and about like a person who's still alive, because I try to like not read stories about people who are still alive, but I've been on this kick where I just want to read as much as possible. So then
Mm,
last this month I've already finished the David Goggins book called Can't Hurt Me. Um, Obama's book is called
okay.
A Promised Land, by the way. So I've been
David
watching
Goggin.
David Goggins for a minute
Mm,
online. Um, he does the ultra marathons, the 50, 100, 150-mile runs and shit. Um, and he was in the Air Force, and then he went to the Navy and became a Navy SEAL, and then he
mm,
became an Army Ranger. After that, he went to Ranger School and crushed that.
okay.
And then he was trying to be a Delta. This dude like he had like little micro breaks in his shins, and like still running. He has the record for pull-ups in 24 hours.
So
Um,
wait,
he was
let me. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
he,
I'm
he was
sorry.
he was almost 300 pounds and lost 106 pounds in 3 months, so he could get
Mm,
in to like SEAL Academy and shit. So like just
mm.
like the what do you call it? Like the dude is tapped out, but his drive is so crazy. Like I was like, damn, this dude is like not letting anything. Like it's a real good inspirational read. If you're looking for something that kind of like help you get motivated to get your shit in gear, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Read the David Goggins book, man. Like his life was not easy. You know what I'm saying? Like his backstory is real crazy, real
Let
crazy.
me ask though. Let me ask though, because it sounds like you read more like biographies.
Oh no, no,
Um,
no, not at all. I read a lot of. I actually prefer fictional stories and like storytelling. Like I read a lot of John Grisham. I read a lot
but
of
you're
Mario.
not into like the Daniel Steele's romance novels. You're not into like
I mean, I've read a few. I mean, I'm not opposed to reading them. They're not necessarily like my go-to read, but like I'm pretty
you're
much
not
trying
into
to read.
like the Murder She Wrote series and shit like that.
I mean, I've not read it, but like I said, I read everything. You know what I'm saying? Just right now, I
Okay,
happen to be
okay.
on more of a biography tip, just because like
Mm,
I'm always looking for something new to read. So I've been reading like a lot of fiction for like basically all my life. I stayed away from books like this, and
mm.
so this year I was like, I'm gonna try to read a couple books a month. I'm gonna have to like diversify, because there's only so many stories out. And let
You
me
know
start
what's
the year off reading on some biographies and really maybe trying to get it inspired to do more shit. Like right now I'm reading Greenlight by Matthew
mm.
McConaughey.
Oh, okay.
He also narrates, and if I mean, McConaughey got a cool ass voice anyway, and his vibe is
Mhm.
cool. And that's another dude where you don't really know as much about him as you think you do, except what you read in the papers. And he really like I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, man. Like dude's life is
Yeah,
much crazier than what people even know about. So like I don't know, man. It's just been like a. So those are 3 books if you're looking for something to read that I'm
yeah.
reading.
Because if anything, like I find myself reading more like textbooks. It's very weird. Like even since high school and college, you know how people turn in their college books. Like I keep my books. Like I love textbooks. I find myself reading those and a lot of instructional guys like cookbooks, and how tos. So it's very weird. Like when it comes to like people's stories, like I try to find my own voice in a sense, but it's hard for me to not somewhat echo somebody. It's hard to be the next Shakespeare if only thing you're reading is Shakespeare, because the next thing that you're doing is walking in Shakespeare's shadow. So
Oh
it
yeah,
like
nah.
I
I
for
guess
me, I try to stay away from those, but like I I'm trying to open myself up to more of those, but I'm more on the magazines,
well,
the
here's the thing too.
instructional guides.
Like I said,
Um,
I've never been like a big reader of biographies or of biographies of people that are still alive. You know what I'm saying? But I
yeah,
was like, let me diversify my reading and read more about these people and just see because everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people assume that you're on that top level because you had a lot of shit handed to you. You know what I'm saying? Or because
mm,
you had a strong network, or because you knew a guy that knows a guy, and a lot of that happens. But occasionally you get people who just kind of like fell into it, but then you also get people who worked
mm,
hard to get to where they are. And it's almost like it's interesting to hear those other stories because it gives you a different perspective on people who now are worth like billions or millions of dollars. And you're like,
yeah,
oh, somebody must have helped them get there. And then you hear their story and you're like, oh, damn, this dude really struggled to get where he's at. It gives you a little bit
mm,
more appreciation for when you get there and you know you're on a path and you struggling and you going through it, to know that people actually succeed to get there, and to hear how they get it, how they did it might help you through something like
and
that too. You know what I mean? It
I,
doesn't mean you got to be like
I
them, but if it helps you get through something, then that's good.
and I know you're not a fan of these two people that much. Probably one more than the other, but like the Tiffany Haddish story and the Lizzo story, like I know for me personally, like their stories are real stories. And even though like I can't really relate to some of them on a certain level, it's like, yo, everybody think like, yo, these are just like, loud and boisterous figures. No, like they struggle. Like there's layers to the onion, and you gotta see the tears that they've gone through, because like Prince said, sometimes it takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
Yeah, nah.
Like,
I'm sure they have very
but
interesting stories, and maybe one day I'll get to them, but I think that
yeah, but like
after this
like
McConaughey
you
book,
can't
I'm
really
probably gonna.
relate to it.
Well, you never
Yeah.
know.
No.
I mean, like everybody struggles in a different way, and sometimes somebody struggling in a way that you don't opens your eyes to other shit. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily struggle,
Oh
but like just a different level of perseverance. But I'm
yeah.
always
No,
looking for
cause
something to read, so I'll keep y'all posted on like, what
no,
I'm
cause
reading
there's a
like that. So make
there's
sure you go to the websites and check me out, see what I'm reading.
a
But
day. Yeah,
yeah,
cause I know I was gonna say cause if anything, now there's a chapter in my story where I spent like 3 or 4 days in a homeless shelter just to get my mind right. Like it was one of those kind of things. It's like, look, like I could easily come back and be with my folks, or I could tuck tail and go back to my situation. But I was like, nah, what? I just got to stay here and just get my mind right. Like I could go by you, I could call any of my boys or anybody, but I'm like, nope, I got to do this. So like, there's a lot of things to a lot of people don't know about. So yeah, reading and getting to know people, following up on your website and your socials, so that way people can see other stories. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. I'm always, like I said, reading is just a thing that I do as a creative writer. It kind of helps. It also kind of helps me open up my mind a little bit to the stories. But the other thing
Mhm.
that really, you know what I'm saying, is I actually, what's the new music, man? I feel like I haven't seen any new music come out this year already. I mean,
Really?
like, what am I missing? You know what I mean? The last album I listened to
Well,
was
well,
Revival B Side.
outside of my newest musical podcast, Winterberry. Um, yeah, no, music has been slow compared to like the like TV shows because everybody's just waiting to release music and then be able to tour it and make money off of it on some real time.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
true. I
not
didn't even
just
think
tour
about
it,
that.
not just tour it, but then also take it to the talk shows, to the late nights, to the daytimes, like what's Tamara Hall. She most likely will have like musical performances. Wendy Williams got my man DJ Sus One up there, so like they could probably bust a little performance, but nobody's really opened up like that yet. So it's probably gonna be wishful thinking when it comes to new music. You'll probably get some springtime stuff for the summer, some summertime stuff. Hoping that the summertime is gonna open up, but right now I'm still rocking heavy with Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist. You know, I don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna vote for them for album of the year, but um, Royce the 5'9" has been growing on me.
Yo, Royce is a
First you
fucking savage, man. Like
it was the production that I think that's what I was caught up on because I prefer a certain sound, but recently because I've been opening myself up to Black Thought, you put me on the Black Thought as well. Even though like Black Thought has always been great, it's I've never
yes.
really given him a chance.
Like I don't understand how
Like
he's
so,
never in anybody's top five.
yo, for real. Like
He's never in anybody's top five, and the dude is a fucking beast.
but did you hear about the beef recently though between um Snoop and Eminem? And how Eminem had some gripes on what Snoop said because they asked Snoop, you know, I guess Eminem said something, blah blah blah, and Snoop was like, um, nah, well, Eminem's music isn't really relevant, you know, and then you know Eminem was like, oh, what the fuck, yo, we just saw each other, like, yo, where's all this coming from? Yeah, I just didn't like the fact that you just totally dismissed me like that. So I'm like, I've never been an Eminem fan personally. Like he's never really spoke to me, but oh, I don't know if you've heard anything about that, but how you feel about
I
hearing me with
mean,
my little cliff notes?
you see with the Cliff Note edition, yo.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of both dudes. You know what I mean? Like Snoop is kind of the reason why I even started to write rhymes in the first place. Like I wanted to, not necessarily like from a lyrical standpoint, because I don't necessarily think Snoop is like super lyrical, but just from like a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like Snoop's vibe for me was like it was real early on. Um, and
Did you
M,
have Snoop over DMX in that battle?
of course, but and then M
Okay.
is just M's lyrics. Like it's a lot of you know people make fun of the delivery, but if you break down the lyrics, he's actually really saying some shit. And
Yes.
from a wordplay perspective, I don't think there's anyone better from a wordplay perspective. But um, I don't know, man. Like I'm not really giving it no. I'm not trying to give it any heat because I don't really think it's gonna go anywhere. If they battle, I mean, I don't know. Like I can't see Snoop winning a battle, song for song. I think it would be
Well,
interesting to see, but like
see,
I don't, I'm not really giving no heat to it because
for
I like
for
both
me the
dudes.
for me the main thing that I don't like with Eminem was Not the fact that for me initially, I used to look at him like the Ricky Schroeder of the rap game, where he had a silver spoon handed to him with Dr. Dre. Number one. Number two, like I had an issue with that because they
I
had
don't think
other
it was.
white
I don't think it
rappers.
was handed to him. I mean, he went in there and did his thing at the battle.
He no, but he had to prove himself. Right?
Yeah, he
He
did.
was given a silver spoon, but he had to prove himself, and he
I don't
proved
think he was
himself.
given a silver spoon. I mean, if you know the backstory, you know he wasn't given a silver spoon. And then the dude was like
Yeah,
out there
yeah,
battling motherfuckers and like making a name.
and you see,
Like
and
a
that's why I
silver
said
spoon is like they came to Detroit and was like, yo, you're white and you rap, let's go. You know what I'm
no, no,
saying?
no,
Like
no,
that
no,
wasn't really
no,
the
no,
case.
and no, and that's why I said initially. That's before 8 Mile came out and gave the context to everything, right?
Nah, even
So
before that though, like if
like
you
I didn't know him like that. Like
right.
he just popped out of the blue. So that's why I said initially that's how I felt, right? But as time went on, what it became was all right. The same reason why some people can't rock with Mobb Deep, I couldn't rock with M because of his subject matter. Because with his subject matter, it didn't speak to me because his situation with his baby mama. I couldn't get down with that. The pills and the mushrooms, I couldn't get down with that. The sounded like that, and then it got to the delivery with the sounding like a leprechaun, somebody squeezing the leprechaun's nuts. Like that bothered me. So for me, I always discounted him, and then I started listening to a little bit of him, and I'm like, all right, even though I don't like what he's saying or how he's saying it, he's actually saying something. And I had to get to that point with him. Like the production, I had to come to a point with that with him as well. So for me, I still don't put him up there because he doesn't really speak to me the way that say like a Prodigy would speak to me, or um what's his name, Sean Price would speak to me, or even on a lower level, Action Brunson. Like
But here's the thing though, like you gotta remember that like everybody's top five is relative to like their influence in music,
personal
right?
taste.
But then
Yeah,
there's
their
also
personal
but
taste.
then there are some top fives that are kind of like cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? Like from a stage presence, like there's your top 10 MCs, and then there's also your top 10 lyricists. You know what I'm
But
saying?
you
And
see
like to
that
me,
that's why
they're two different.
when we had our March Madness, right, and we had our Mount Rushmore R&B, right, we had to have certain criterias, right.
Yeah.
That's how certain people missed the list because they didn't make criterias. Because and I'm now really leaning on that argument where some people are like, I don't know if Biggie's that high because Biggie only had basically 2 albums. Other than that, everything else was chopped up and mixed up together and Frankenstein.
Right.
So I'm like,
So big wouldn't score as high as far as like if you want to call it like catalog. You know what I'm saying? But Big is gonna score high in lyrics and
an impact,
storytelling and
an impact.
impact. And you know what I'm saying? Like if you take it across the line, like where he comes up short is that he doesn't have the catalog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then on all the other marks, he's a top 10 guy. It's like when you vote for like the Hall of Fame or whatever it is, you got to put like you got to rank everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
See
all right, who's
now,
the best
see,
lyricist?
see,
Who had the most impact? Who had the better numbers with the record sales? You know what I'm saying? All of that, and then you see how it shakes up. That's why I'm like,
see,
I don't understand how Black Thought is not in everybody's top five,
see now,
and how M makes some top fives but not others.
see now. In short, with Big, right? And I hate making this equivalent. Um, with the Knicks, right? People question if Jeremy Lin was a great Knick for his little stint with the Knicks, and I say no because what he did with the Knicks was only about 8 months, and when it came to the playoffs and crunch time, he wasn't there. He pulled up lame. So Big never pulled up lame, but the thing is that Big his run was only 2 albums. So when it comes to Big, it's hard for me to really make an argument because of Big over Big Daddy Kane, because Big Daddy Kane actually was the guy that had the Brooklyn swagger, the Brooklyn gear, he had the high top fade, the cameo, he had the chains, and he was talking about Asiatic shit, like
Well,
Big
here's,
Daddy, and he had
uh,
like raw lyrics.
I'll
So
give you
like
a
for me,
non. I'll give
like
you a non Knicks
but you see
Knicks
the thing
analogy.
was is that Big Daddy Kane was in the game long enough where he was whack, and people hold a lot of the whack shit against him. The same thing with Snoop. People hold a lot of the whack shit against Snoop because he's had longevity. Like the longer in the game, yeah, you're gonna have off seasons where you pulled up lame. You know, you had an injury and it wasn't what it was supposed to be. But
But
you know,
sometimes you can have incredible impact and be thought of as one of the best ever in a very short amount of time based on how much you impacted the industry that you're in. Example, Calvin Johnson, he played 9 seasons. Some would
Barry
say
Sanders.
Barry Sanders, he played 9 seasons, and he's considered, he's arguably the best running back of all time. He doesn't have
Yeah.
the yards to be better than Emmett, but Emmett played like 37 seasons. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, cool, like, but where and Emmett got the rings and all of that. But when you look at Barry and you're like, damn, he did this with like half or less than half of what Emmett had. So like, you know what I'm saying? Or Jim Brown, who only played like 8 seasons and is still
Mm.
highly considered like a top 5 running back. So like, because Big only had 2 albums,
Yeah.
do you really weight it that heavy when you talk about Big being like in the top 10 or a top 5? Because it's like
People pe-
what Big did in an
people
album and a half, some dudes don't even do in their career.
people make it seem like Jordan only had 6 seasons.
Right.
Really and truly.
Or
Like
Kobe.
people
People get
really
mad at me
make
when
it
I
seem
put
like
Kobe.
Jordan only has 6 seasons.
People get
Like
mad at me
they
when
totally forget about everything else.
I put Kobe ahead of LeBron a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because just from a perspective of like, yo, everybody thinks that Kobe played only while LeBron was in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't
Nah,
think people don't remember about number 8. They only know 24. You know
nah.
what I'm
You know what
saying?
it is though. You know what it is.
Or like
The
saying Allen
rape
Iverson.
case. The rape case really took a lot of shine off of Kobe because even in his death, that's why people got on Gail for even questioning Lisa Leslie like that. So it's like I saw what Gail was fitting to do with that, and I hear where people came across hurt, but I see where that holds a lot of. I can't put Kobe up there with a lot of people. That's not with me because I know what it was with that case. So
Hey,
like
listen,
I
you don't even gotta know
respect.
what it is with the case. Like, if you just look at the body of, like, I think that, and maybe that's just like the curse of being like in the limelight, right? People tend to put your personal handlings, and I'm not saying that it's not valid in some situations, but it's like when you talk about ranking a motherfucker like with amongst their peers, you know what I'm saying, in the industry that they performed in, you can't, you got to be like more or less objective. You know what I mean? It's like Roberto Alomar didn't get into the Hall of Fame as a first ballot Hall of Famer because he spit on that guy. But if you look at his baseball ability, he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't like, and maybe I'm just different in a way because I just
Nah,
like to break shit down to what it
see,
is.
baseball is different because baseball is a lot of grudges. Because real talk, Barry Bonds should be first ballot. Bottom line,
Dude, it's
like
not just it's not just baseball, it's basketball too. Because why did it take so long for Dennis Rodman to get in the Hall of Fame? Because people didn't like Dennis Rodman. It had nothing to do with his basketball ability. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
especially when it's writer based, because like with Barry Bonds, he was very standoffish and he was a jerk to writers, right? He had his personal reasons saying about like how he saw how people handle Willie Mays, his uncle, and how they handle his father. So Barry Bonds had his built-in grimace way about himself, I guess. But yeah, when it came to Dennis Rodman, yeah, when it comes to writers, they some people had a certain way with him, and it was like it rubbed
well, that
them
and
the
also
wrong way, and
we
they
got to
held
remember
it
that
against him.
Barry Bonds also took steroids. And I'm a listen, and I want to be on the record as saying like, yo, steroids does not give you the ability to hit a baseball. Like I have great hand-eye coordination, and I was like a 280 baseball bat, a 280 at the plate at best. So it's like the steroids make you stronger. They help you heal faster. They help you not get injured, so you can play longer. But they don't enhance your hand-eye coordination. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying? And my thing
and
is
I'll
like,
give you
yo,
that.
you gotta go out there and still do the work. Just because I take the steroids and I'm jacked, don't mean that I'm not gonna have 500 strikeouts. You know what I'm saying?
All
Like I
right.
gotta still be
So
able to put
wait,
the
wait,
bat
wait,
on the ball.
and I'll give you that. And see, this is the thing. All right. So by the percentage of people that was using steroids, it came up when it was after the strike. So people were on their off time, their free time, without a contract, without regulation of law when it comes to the sport. So when you now factor in that, okay, if 75% of the league is using steroids, okay, how are we gonna give these numbers a curve? All right, so there's that. But the whole thing with me and Barry Bonds is all right. If you want to talk about the steroid years and how they're tainted, okay, exclude that. Look at what he did before the steroid years,
Oh, that's
and
my
was a
argument,
guaranteed first
dude.
ballot Hall of Famer.
That's always
Make
been my
for those
argument.
pre-steroid numbers.
That's always been my argument for guys getting in the Hall of Fame that a lot of people like will battle me on. It's like, yo, Barry Bonds is a pirate, was a Hall of Fame player. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Roger Clemens as a Boston Red Sox was a Hall of Fame
Hall
player.
of Fame.
Before he even got to Toronto, he was a Hall of Fame
Yeah.
player. So why are these guys not in the Hall? I'm also one of the few who I lobby every year for Pete Rose to get in because Pete Rose never bet on his team. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be one thing to me, like, all right, betting on baseball, that's fucked up. Even Jordan didn't bet on basketball, but he never bet against or for, he never bet on his team. He never spent money on his team to be like, yo, the Reds are gonna win tonight or the Reds are gonna lose tonight. Not that he can control
Where
the
he had
outcome
an actual where he had an actual impact on the income.
on the outcome. Like he never did that. He was gambling on other shit, other baseball games, but none that he was involved in. So everybody's allowed to gamble. That's just legal. He would go to Vegas and do it. So like, you know what I mean? Like, plus, how you not gonna have the second best hitter of all time in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
How you gonna have the home run king not in the Hall of Fame? How you gonna have
You know.
the dude who won 7 Cy Youngs not in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah. And see, and that's where baseball is skewed. And you see, and that's where it comes back full circle back to music, where it's like, all right, well, this one singer, all right, they've been singing real good. Now all of a sudden they're using auto tune. Like, are they a great singer now that they're using auto tune, or like what's going on? Like,
I mean, that's the difference
so
between a good singer and a good songwriter. Because half these great songwriters can't sing. You know what I'm saying?
that's true. That's true.
You ain't got to be a great singer to be a great songwriter. Ask Babyface. He's not a
I'll
great
let you
singer.
say that. I'll let you say
Babyface
that.
is not a great singer. Neither is Keith Sweat. Neither is Beyonce. Neither is Mary J. They're not great singers, but they're great performers
I don't.
and fantastic
Yeah.
songwriters. The Dream.
Wait. Don't forget. Don't forget about your girl Anita Baker.
Anita Baker. She's not a great singer, and I love Anita Baker. She's not a great singer. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like
man. Oh,
Like, if I had to build a
but her
vocal,
melody and like, see, her melody and her tone, like, it's perfect. I love it.
Sade, not a great singer. Not a great singer, dog.
Ooh. Oh, you're
Not,
gonna get at Helen's neck like that?
yeah, Helen. Helen, you are not a great. Listen.
Because Sade is the name of the band.
It's correct.
Helen
Correct.
is the actual name of the
Helen.
singer. Like,
But either
I
way,
try to tell people this all the time.
and Sade is a great band. You know what I'm saying? They're a great
Oh yeah.
band, but Helen is a marginal singer. She might even tell you that.
All right.
But
So
that don't mean
before,
we love her any less. Because
all right,
I
wait. So
sound good
wait,
when
wait,
I sing Sade
wait.
in the
I
whip.
I remember this was explosive, and like I know I gotta go take a piss in a little bit, but I remember this was explosive. There was a question. You're on an island, and you could do away with one. I think it was Jill Scott, Eric, but Erica Badu, Sade, and Beyonce. I said personally, I would do away with Sade, and people kind of blew up on me. And I'm like, look, I I'm on a deserted island, and what's these love songs really doing for me? I'm like,
But
I'm like, real talk. They're like,
see,
yo, I'll
you
get rid of
came at it from a
Beyonce.
different angle. Because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of Beyonce because at the end of the day, I don't want to hear her catalog as much as I would rather hear everybody else's. You know what I'm saying? Like, I looked at it from a catalog perspective. Like, how much of this music could I listen to on a
You
desert
know what
island
though?
and just be chilling and vibing and shit?
You know what though? My boy, he hit me up with a curveball though. Shout out to my boy Benny at work. Benny the copy man, not Benny the butcher, but Benny the copy man. But nah, he was like, yo, he'll get rid of Jill Scott because her music and her catalog is similar to Erica Badu. So he's not really losing anything in that sense. I'm like, really? You think? And he was like, yeah, that's what he'll go with. I'm like, all
Hey,
right,
let's see, everybody got a different preference, man. And
yeah, man.
that's the beauty of the world. You know what I'm saying? But hey,
Yeah, that's the beauty of music too,
that's the
man.
beauty
It's
of music,
subjective.
man. There's so many different ways that you could go about it. But we up against the end of another episode of the Saturday Conversation, episode number 93.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, we up in the hockey numbers right now, 93, or like the big linemen. And we
Yeah,
up in the
offensive
lineman numbers.
linemen.
But
Yeah.
make sure you're checking us on all the social medias, man. Facebook, Snapchat,
Mhm.
Instagram. Uh Shit, I got a TikTok. I don't ever put shit on there because I don't really know how to use that shit. But make sure you check us on all the social medias, man. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe button.
Mhm.
Join the YouTube channel and be on the lookout. We still looking to give away a custom Daddy Dearest design one-off piece.
Uh-huh.
All you gotta
Yeah.
do is
I got
go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and subscribe to the social medias. At Kvar
mhm.
ENT, Daddy Dearest Designs,
Yeah, I got to piss
Saturday
like a
Conversation.
racehorse stuff.
But anything you want to shamelessly self promote besides going to drop one?
Nah, I gotta go piss like a racehorse, but nah, check out Winterberry on all the social, all my social medias, DJ Iron Monkey, Facebook, Instagram, and all the streaming sites. And it's for free. I gotta go pee. I
Word.
gotta
All right,
piss.
we'll check you out next time, y'all. Be easy.
Peace.